It is another beautiful night in San Diego. What do you know? They've had a spate of good weather here finally. The Rockies getting ready, game 2 at Petco Park to take on the San Diego Padres. The Rockies 72-61. They begin the evening a game and a half behind Arizona in the National League West. There is Brett Kennedy making his way to the mound, the 24-year-old. As we were discussing, it'll be his 5th big league start, and the Rockies hoping to get healthy offensively, because they have not gotten a lot done the last 2 games. Fortunately, in Anaheim, it did result the low run total in a victory. Last night, as you know, it did not, as they lost in 13 innings. Southwest batting order will look like this. Charlie and DJ. Cargo, he'll bat 3rd against the righty. Then Nolan, Trevor. David Dahl's in there after he'll be humming a tune, I guess, as we learned with Spilly. Ryan McMahon, he's in the starting lineup today, batting 7th. Chris Iannetta 8th. And Antonio Senzatella will bat 9th, of course. This kid's got a good arm. Everybody does these days. He'll throw the ball, his fastball, a 4-seamer in the mid-90s. He had not a good year in the PCL. He had an extraordinary year in the PCL. He went 10-0 in 16 starts with a sub-3 RA. That's almost unheard of. But so far, in his first 4 starts in the big leagues, it's been a little bit rougher than the PCL.
Well, I think what he's learning is the fastball, even though it's 92 to 94 miles an hour, if you pitch up here, it's going to get hammered. He has not been able to command any sort of his off-speed pitches. He'll throw a fastball, slider, and changeup. And the slider and the changeup are about the same speed at 83 miles an hour.
That's fouled off.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing, 10-0, as you said, Drew, with the 336 or 322 down in AAA El Paso. In 82 minor league games, he's 31-20 with the 336.
Well, he's earned the right to be here, and now it's the learning curve that every young player goes through, and that had 2-seam action, ran off the plate, 3-1.
And right now for Charlie, the way the game was last night, this one's got to be just center cut right where you want it and take your A swing. Don't be chasing. Just like that. Good swing. Thought last night there was just a little too aggressive at times.
There were a lot of, less than 10-pitch innings offensively, where it was 1, 2, 3, and the Rockies were back out on defense.
Yeah, just some early swings.
So it's 3-2 on Charlie, and he was on that pitch. Rockies in August, 14-13. This obviously the final ball game in the month of August. And that's fouled off. Now, Charlie's going to have a lot of information, regardless of the outcome of this at bat, to pass on to everybody else in that dugout.
Well, and down in the clubhouse today, able to watch a little bit of video of Brett Kennedy when he was pitching for El Paso against Albuquerque this year. So not only they have that video, but they can also call the coaches and managers down in AAA. How about this? 8 pitches so far to Charlie, kind of all the way in that Subaru strike zone.
Yeah, and then the question, arises, we talk about this sometimes, is he fouling off pitches that you think he should be able to put in play with authority?
Well, I think the 3-1 for sure. I think a couple of the other ones, maybe they were running just a little bit on him.
And this is slowly hit, no man's land. Charlie should get a knock out of it, he will. So a leadoff infield single for Blackman. And that's a 1/3 of their total from last night.
Well, it's nice to be able to foul off all those pitches, and then on the 9th one, you get the swinging one, and you could tell there was some indecision. Once Brett could not get to it, Hosmer, the only thing he could do was wait on it, and then no play.
So that'll bring DJ to the plate. DJ had a couple of the hard hit balls last night. I mean, that's what it comes down to. You start counting guys who put the ball in play with authority, but didn't have anything to show for it.
Yeah, he had the line drive to right. You mentioned the last game in Anaheim where he had 4 hard hit balls, had nothing to show for it. So DJ's working on an 0 for 10, yet he's hit the ball hard 5 times, I think. 5, maybe even 6 times in those 10 at bats.
Well, he definitely did Tuesday night in Anaheim. To your point, he had 4 barrels that night, but was 0 for 4.
Yeah, and so you look at it, wow, 0 for his last 10, but he had been 7 for his previous 13 before that.
That's in there for a strike, 2-1. Kennedy was originally an 11th round pick out of Fordham University in the Bronx. Second on their all-time strikeout list there. I know Fordham a little bit. My dad got his law degree from there.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Law school's in Manhattan. Fordham's a good school. Swung on and missed, 2-2.
That year in the draft in 2015, the 11th round where he was picked, he was the 327th player taken overall that year.
Charlie at first. He had a stolen base yesterday, his 9th. 2-2 not going, and now it's 3-2. Josh Burns, who used to be an executive with the Rockies, Arizona, of course, some other stops, now in the front office with the Dodgers, went to Haverford College. And the reason I'm mentioning that, Josh had a nice baseball career there, but Brett's brother played baseball at Haverford outside of Philadelphia. He's an East Coast kid. Went to Atlantic City High School. See if Charlie's going here. He is. And that is sharply hit to second, and Urias made the play.
Now they switched up the coverage. Shortstop went to cover. That allowed Luis to stay at home.
1 out. That'll bring up Cargo with a man in scoring position. You hear the Padres defensively. The guy who hit the game-winning home run last night. Franmil Reyes is in right field. And Will Myers is back at third base. Just his 14th start there. And yesterday he made 3 errors. When we saw him in Denver playing there, he made an error 1 ball game. The next game, fielding ground balls before the game started, he had one go off his nose and he missed a couple of games. So it's been a rough ride for Will at third base, but he's back out there tonight. Cargo rips it foul. You almost thought with Will Myers that, listen, he's one of their 2 big bats, that maybe he would have gotten a start in the outfield. And here's some of the miscues from yesterday. Just a mental break to, okay, go play left field tonight.
Yeah, I want you to worry about your hitting for a game. Take a little of the pressure off you. And instead he had the 3 errors. Now maybe, I don't know what happened. Maybe he went into Andy Green and said, listen, I want to go back. I want to play third again tonight.
That's at the top of the strike zone, but it's called a ball, so it's 1-1 on Cargo. He had 1 of the 3 hits last night, 1 for 6. Yeah, if you have a fielding percentage south of 900, I don't care what position you're playing, that's not good. Two and 1. We're talking about confidence. Same thing with this young man on the mound, Brett Kennedy. So, you know, it's been an uneven go so far at the big league level. Put a little more doubt in his mind early in this game. Put up a couple numbers against him.
Yeah, he's got a first and second inning ERA of 13.5. So whatever doubt there is, now it's got to be even worse.
Good patient at bat for Cargo. The natural inclination after a rough night offensively, man, you want to fire and try to put to bed everything that occurred last night. And Cargo's remaining patient. Charlie was patient.
But
DJ
I think
was
that,
patient.
But that's the key, patience. You can be patiently aggressive, but that's patient aggressive within the strike zone.
Yep. 3-1 here. Three and two on Cargo. He's got a 7-game hitting streak. Blackman with 1 out at second. And this is bounced toward Galvis. He's going to go the only way he can. He's going to get an no safe there. The ball beat him. Myers applied the tag. Third base umpire John Tumpain emphatically said no, he was underneath it.
Well, and John was right there too. So he had a good look on this. I don't think Will got the tag down in time. Right here, he thinks he's in. Nope, he's not. But they're going to take a peek at this.
He may have got him.
I think he still got him on the knee.
You know, that's something else. You know, when you talk about Will Myers at third base, you got to put your nose in there and apply a tag.
You're not used to the play coming that way.
Yeah. Off the bat, I thought it had a chance to squeak through.
I think that's what Charlie thought too. But then this is the easiest throw for Galvis to come to third. Maybe gets him on the knee before the quad, before that foot gets in there. Taking a long time to look at this one. It was called safe.
It looked like he missed him initially, but then he got him before the foot touched the bag on the knee area. So Charlie is out, 6-5, 2 gone. Cargo at first, and that'll bring up Nolan. Nolan did a lot of work in the cage today. He always does, but he's been in a little bit of a funk. And working on him not drifting toward the baseball, a little, watching his head movement. Of course, you don't want much head movement.
I think they're also trying to just slow him down a little bit.
And he works underneath this one in the air to right field. Reyes is out there.
I was going to say, he didn't see it for a second.
So the Rockies had an infield hit from Charlie, nothing else across. It'll be time for Antonio Senzatella when we come back to Petco. Recall he began the year working out of the bullpen. He's more comfortable as a starter, and in his young big league career, he has been much better as a starter. And against the Padres, he's 4-0. That's pretty good. He has 4 of his 14 career victories against the Pods.
Yeah, his first major league win was against San Diego. That was at Coors Field. He also had a great performance here at Petco when the Rockies defeated San Diego 4-1. 6 innings, 6 hits, just 3 runs. 2 of them were earned. A lot of ground balls in that performance. That was back on May 3rd, 2017.
Jankowski takes first pitch on the corner for strike 1.
And I thought you made a great point when we were talking about the starters tonight, Drew. And the last start for Antonio, he didn't have command of any sort of secondary pitch, and his primary pitch, his fastball, it lacked some command in that game. Because when you're using it 68% of the time, you better be able to spot it in and out.
Yep, and he's off the plate there, 2-1. Senzatella's slider is still a work in progress, and he's throwing it more than he did a year ago.
But to me, I think he needs to throw his changeup more, because I think that's probably his better secondary pitch right now.
Yep. And that was talked about between this last start and the one you're witnessing tonight to kind of incorporate that changeup a little bit more. We'll see how it plays out. Gets a ground out off the bat of Jankowski. Luis Urias is coming up. Here's the Rockies defensively. Dahl gets a start in left field. And in the infield, it's McMahon at first for Ian Desmond tonight. McMahon had a hit off the bench yesterday, so he gets a start against the right-hander. And that pitch is pulled for a ball. This is game 4 for Urias.
From 3 of the 4, he's been hitless. One game, though, he's 3 for 5. Game against Seattle.
Good pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. See how the slider looks here. Little, not super sharp, little loopy, right?
Yeah, I was going to say more of a slurve than a true slider. But that's okay if you throw a slurve. But just because you call it a slider doesn't mean it has to have that, late sharp breaking action on it. But you got to be able to incorporate at least 2 off-speed pitches if you're going to be a successful starter.
1-2, and that fastball is wasted. This young man at 21, as you look at Buddy Black, Urias, the 6th youngest player in baseball. But Buddy was telling us earlier, and he said this before, we were talking about how tough Marquez is, how tough Kyle Freeland is, how competitive they are. And he said Senzatella is built of the same stuff. He's really impressed with Antonio's makeup. Yeah, pretty close, man.
That's missed on the Subaru strike zone.
Yeah, that's all over. Chris was a little bit toward the inside corner, so he had to reach, but that's a miss by a good umpire, Jim Reynolds, because that was all over the outer third of the plate. It wasn't even on the corner. He'll go out there again, and they'll get a ground ball to DJ. Good communication. McMahon started for the baseball, and DJ either called him off. Take us through what probably took place.
I think Ryan realized that he was going to start to go too far, so he stopped and then allowed DJ to get it and then make the throw back to Ryan at first. So off the bat, your inclination as a first baseman, I want to go get it, because remember, Ryan was the third baseman, shortstop. He's like, I'm used to going to get the ball. At first, you have more of an anchor over there than you do at the other positions.
Will Myers has given Senza some issues. That's a sharp breaking ball for a strike. He's 6 for 9 against Senzatella in their matchups. He does own a home run against him. Not this time, just a ground ball to Story. Good start for Senzatella. 1, 2, 3. 3 ground balls. That'll work. No score as we go to the second. Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru, by Dish Network, better TV for all. And by Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees, that's transparency. That's a great view of Petco Park out in center field, the lawn. There's a wiffle ball field, sandbox.
Sandbox, that's my favorite out there.
Do you still go out there and make sandcastles?
I do, yeah, sandcastles. I have to get there before all the kids, though, you know, so I bring my own pail and bucket and water.
They changed it around. It's actually an eating area now. Is there still sand somewhere out there?
We're in San Diego. There's got to be sand.
Trevor Story fouls that pitch off. It'll be Story, Dahl, and McMahon here in the second inning against Brett Kennedy. Turned 24 earlier in the month. Rockies had an infield hit from Blackman in the first. That was it. And that's hook foul. Earlier in the week, Trevor became the 7th player in franchise history to produce a 20-20 season, more than 20 home runs, more than 20 stolen bases. And that's a rocket off of Kennedy, and an infield hit for Story. He had to elude Eric Hosmer, and now they'll come out and check on Brett Kennedy. Kennedy's had the leadoff man on again.
Yeah, Kennedy's in some pain too. Right back off the inside portion of his left knee. And for Trevor, for a second, I'm sure he's running down the line saying, oh no, Hosmer's going after the ball. Can I beat him to that spot?
And he has the right, folks, to redirect in either direction there.
Yeah, because, I mean, technically, since it already hit a player, you could actually then run over Eric Hosmer. I mean, by rule, because it already touched another player. But no reason to. You can reroute, as you said, Drew, to go out and around, because he's still within that, you know, that 3-foot window as he's running down the line.
There is a seldom implemented or well, a seldom seen rule that you just brought out. Once it hits another player, that the next fielder doesn't have the same.
Have that right.
He doesn't have the right that the initial fielder does.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Yep. So, I mean, you could have run him over, but there's no sense in it. Now, you can't do it if it has not been touched by another player yet. Trevor, with those 21 stolen bases, he's 21 for 27. The Rockies have 75 as a club, so Trevor has over a quarter of the stolen bases by the Rockies this year, 28%.
David swings and misses at a pitch in the middle of the plate, 0-1. Really did a nice piece with David leading up to the start of the ball game. Learned that he hums a different tune going up to the plate, kind of calm his nerves. You know who is like that? And this guy was different, as you know, going way back. Not way back, but going back. Curtis Leskanic, when he came in, he had to hear a certain tune depending on, you know, what time of year it was almost. There goes the runner, and Story is safe. Hedges can really throw. I mean, he's got a cannon.
Well, he's thrown out 23% of would-be base stealers. This is straight steal. Trevor almost comes off the bag. He does for a second, but then the tag wasn't continuously applied by Freddie Galvis. So watch the left hand, it comes off the bag, and then it takes Trevor a second to get that left foot back on.
I've had you do this before. I want you to explain to people, it's almost like a skating rink, because when what they put on top of these immaculate infields,
it's almost like a glaze.
Right, and so you're gonna slide farther than you think you will. Dahl went.
We'll look one more time on the Subaru Super Mode. Now watch the left hand trying to hold on to the bag, but there's so much momentum going. What are we talking about? Trevor's almost 30 feet per second, right?
Yeah.
So now you're running that fast. You're trying to stop on something that's probably about 18, 20 inches wide, and it's slick with a glaze on top.
Dahl goes down, 1 out.
It's time now for the win, and it's brought to you by our good folks at Pizza Ranch. The San Diego starters. Make the starters pay, please, especially after last night. The 5.11 ERA, that's 24th in the major leagues, but it's also the worst right now in franchise history for the San Diego Padres, and they've been in existence for 50 years.
Yeah, so it's been a rough go, to say the least. McMahon holds up, ball 1. You know who would come over and sing to Leskanic sometimes?
Who's that?
Big Bruce Springsteen fan. So Walt would jump in from shortstop,
and
he covers mouth with his glove. This is fouled off. And you think they're talking strategy. We're so used to players going to the mound, and they, you know, it's the cone of silence. And he'd be singing a couple of bars from a Springsteen tune.
Who says baseball players are weird?
Well, guys who come out of the bullpen we know are.
Ryan McMahon, 7 for his last 21. Had the pinch hit last night in the 10th inning.
Fouls that pitch off, up and in. 1-2.
These two went head to head. Win Ryan was back down in Albuquerque, and Kennedy was pitching for the Chihuahuas of El Paso.
And this is pulled to first. Hosmer's got it, 2 outs. Story to third. You know, with Dahl not getting the ball in play there after the stolen base by Story, it's another empty at bat. Not all on David, just it's kind of been this trend, because that ground ball would have scored a run.
Exactly, but it's the little plays. It's those team at bats. Especially when you haven't been scoring, and you didn't score but 2 runs last night, and only one of those runs last night was earned.
And one of them came on a Will Myers error on a slow roller off the bat of Ian Desmond. And this is a fair ball right off the bag, and that's the end of the inning. Story left at third, middle of 2, no score. Warm-up pitches as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Let's take a look at the Southwest batting order for the Padres. Did get a chance to glance at it in the first inning. Jankowski, Urias, Myers, they all grounded out in the first. Now it's Hosmer, Renfroe, Franmil Reyes, who had his first career walk-off hit yesterday. It was that home run to center off of Brian Shaw, Austin Hedges, Freddie Galvis, and Brett Kennedy. This is an offense that has been 30th in most offensive categories throughout the year. Hosmer takes a ball.
.235 batting average. What they do, though, they do hit some home runs, 165 of them, which is 4th most in the National League, but they also strike out a lot. A lot of feast or famine.
Well, they do strike out a lot. Your point on home runs is well taken. They've hit 35 home runs in the month of August. Their franchise record is 39. The Rockies, by comparison, have hit only 27 home runs in the month of August. Hosmer with a 2-0 count. And that's low. Swinging 3-0. He hits this ball to deep center field. Charlie going back, can't make the catch. And Hosmer's going to have a double.
Well, you figured he was going to get the green light. Behind the count, 3-0, veteran hitter, 29th double this season for Hosmer. Also raised his batting average over 280 here at Petco Park. Charlie came within probably a foot or so of catching that and then had to brace himself to the wall.
So that'll bring up Hunter Renfroe. He's hitting his last 7 ball games. Guy who hit well below 200 last year with runners in scoring position. And much better than that this year. Feels like he's evolved as a hitter between year 1 and year 2. There's a strike. 1-1.
Last year, Drew, he had 26 home runs, just 58 RBIs. I mean, kind of evolving as a hitter, realizing how they're trying to pitch you instead of trying to swing for the fence every time. He has that power.
Yeah, he's a guy that doesn't have to give a max cut to hit the ball really far. Changeup, we're talking about that pitch, just showed up there to move ahead in the count 1-2. He's had a good August from a long ball standpoint, 9 home runs. And 26 driven in the month of August, leads everybody in the National League. We'll see Arizona soon enough. David Peralta's put together a terrific year.
He just keeps getting better.
He does.
He might have to go out. They're not on the same page. Yeah. You know, this is where that pitch count, or the mound visit, I should say, kind of comes into play early in the game. They just were not on the same page as far as what sign they wanted to go. I think that's where you just go ahead and say, we'll worry about the mound visits later. We need to get this one right.
Nobody out. Hosmer at second in the second. No score. 1-2 on Renfroe and a ground ball. And I tell you what, you have a chance at third. Out at third.
Wow.
You rarely see that play. Ryan McMahon fires to Nolan Arenado and they cut down Hosmer. The ball was hit hard enough. Every infield that you've ever seen, at the end of infield, the first baseman throws it to the third baseman. And you say, you know what? How often does that happen? Almost never. It just happened.
The first time this year it just happened. How about this? But you have to have the guts, the confidence to be able to do it. I think Hosmer thought, well, no big deal. It's hit behind me. I'm doing everything right as a base runner at second base. But Ryan picked him off with that strong throw.
The old 3-5. Write that in your book every night, huh? Here's Franmil Reyes.
Well, on a play that's not a bunt. You might see it on a bunt.
Right, but, you know, again, you've taken 6 million rounds of in and out, infield, outfield, and the first one's always a ground ball to the first baseman behind the bag, and he throws it all the way to third.
Yeah.
Which, and the exercise is more let him stretch out his arm. But you almost never see that. You will see it, as you said, on bunt defense.
Well, that's why the
every
next
once in a
play
while.
on in and out or infield is that you'll roll the ball to the first baseman. He spins and throws to third.
Right.
Which you're going to see more.
Sure.
But not that play right there.
But good, you know what? Good heads-up play by Ryan. He had the clock in his head. He said, this is hit hard enough. It's in front of him. He can see it. And good job by Nolan to say, hey, I got to get it to the bag.
And he knew who was running, you know, with Hosmer.
2 strikes on Reyes. That's strike 3. Frozen with a fastball that tailed back on the outside corner at 94, 2 outs. First strikeout tonight for Senzatella, and that'll bring up Austin Hedges. Join in on the conversation. Send us your thoughts, comments, photos. Use Twitter. Include the hashtag Toyota Talk. Hedges bounces that one foul. Padres quietly have won 3 consecutive ball games. There's Parra. Entertaining as he always is.
It just tells you how bad a year it's been for San Diego. 30 games under 500. That win in 3 straight, that ties their season high.
Yep, that's it's been a tough go. 8 straight losing seasons. That's a pretty good looking pitch.
Yes, sir.
You could hear some noise coming from the Rockies dugout, and Jim Reynolds replied, "Yes, sir." And the question probably was that high, delivering a message, because the dugout did not think it was high, nor was it high.
It was in the Subaru strike zone.
And Jim Reynolds replied by saying, "Yes, sir." He thought
3.
it was high. And this is a ground ball to Trevor. He'll go to DJ, and that's all. Great play by Ryan McMahon. Potential scoring opportunity negated by the infield defense of the Rockies.
Mobile. Josh Fuentes today was named PCL MVP. Led the league with 171 hits, 270 total bases, and a .935 fielding percentage. Why is that name familiar? It's because he's Nolan Arenado's cousin. I asked Nolan today, just how proud is he of his cousin?
Yeah, it means a lot. You know, it's very cool. I know our family's really excited for him. He's worked extremely hard. It's all the credit goes to him, you know, for the work he's put himself in to become a good baseball player and to get the MVP. You know, it's not easy. There's a lot of good players that play in that league, and it's not an easy thing to do. Not too many people can say they've been an MVP, so it's pretty awesome.
Well, of course it's awesome. If you're an MVP, you get the bragging rights. I don't care who you are or where it's at. Obviously, Nolan would love to win a National League MVP, but I still think it's pretty cool that his cousin Josh, who a year ago, think about this, Drew and Huey, he was hitting 220 in Double-A. Made an adjustment with the leg kick, and since then, he's never looked back. Guys?
going to be an easy play for Eric Hosmer. Yeah, great for Josh Fuentes. I mean, even before Double-A, his route to where he is now took him through Mexico at one point. He just keeps grinding.
Well, another guy in this ball game, Hunter Renfroe, he was the PCL MVP in 2016. Just a few years ago. There's Hunter. Yeah, I'm with Spilly. It doesn't matter what league you're playing on. You're named MVP. That's pretty cool.
Well, the Rockies now affiliated with the Albuquerque Isotopes, everybody knows. Been a great relationship. Prior to that, Albuquerque for a long time was part of the Dodger system, and the only other MVP for the Isotopes was Jock Peterson.
Well, he's the first Rockies prospect to win a PCL MVP.
2 strikes on Charlie, had an infield hit in the first inning. And this is popped up left side. Will Myers calling for it. 2 outs. That'll bring up LeMahieu with 2 gone. If the Rockies score 7 runs or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Live Moss at Taco Bell. You know, the first time through the lineup, and now 10 hitters in, there's 1 ball that left the infield, and that was kind of a sorted deal. That was a pop-up to shallow right by Nolan. The Rockies have hit everything on the ground. They have 2 hits, both of the infield variety, though in fairness, Trevor Story hit a rocket off the bat, and it went off of the leg of Brett Kennedy. But they're just in a funk right now. There's no other way to describe it.
A team funk right now.
Yeah, you can't point to one guy and say, well, you know, he's going well. It's kind of everybody's got the illness. That is a hit by pitch. DJ will go down to first, and Cargo will come up.
Might have just grazed the jersey. Yeah, it did. Those are the best kind of hit by pitches. If you're going to get one where it doesn't even get any skin, just gets the jersey.
Cargo with the shift on.
Well, last time there wasn't the shift, but Freddie Galvis was maybe a couple steps on the shortstop side. In our StatCast AI, and it's powered by AWS, showing the shift and the percentages for Cargo.
How about something loud and unplayable right now? Get the Rockies going.
I'm all for that.
One and one. Cargo's average at .324 since May 27th is the 6th best in the National League. He's hitting 15 of his last 17. Earlier this year became the 3rd Rocky all time to produce 500 extra base hits. That's fouled off. Todd Helton, Larry Walker, the other 2. Time for At the Dish, brought to you by Dish Network. Cargo since May 27th. There's some more numbers. The 919 OPS, which really gives you an idea of kind of offensive production a guy's putting up. That's a great number.
And I know some big
over
leaguers
850, over 850 is impressive. 900 really impressive. 1,000 is, you know, Ted Williams territory if you sustain it.
They did a survey earlier and kind of asked some big leaguers what numbers they look at. RBIs, batting average, on base percentage. A lot of them said OPS.
2-2. And Cargo hits this in the air, playable in left center field. And it's gathered in there by Hunter Renfroe. The Rockies will leave DJ at first base. No score as we go to the bottom of the third in San Diego. Eerily similar to last night.
You can do that. Sign up for Fantasy Camp now, taking place at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick, January 28th through February 1st. Visit Rockies.com/fantasycamp for details. It's got to be on somebody's bucket list. You got to do it. 8-9-1 for San Diego.
That's a good hook right there. That was a curveball he got some snap on. 0-2.
And for Antonio to be able to do that, you know, ahead in the count, behind in the count, very impressive. But you saw the value last night in German Marquez. That, again, it was still the talk of the press dining room tonight. Scouts walking by me saying, Huey, man, German last night.
Great.
Impressive.
Tremendous.
One of the best performances I've seen this year. I mean, that's what scouts were saying.
Well, it's the first time in Rockies history that a pitcher went 8 innings or more, allowed 2 hits or less, and struck out 10 or more. Never happened before. Galvis lifts this down the left field line, and it is playable out there for Dahl. Nicely done. So he had to worry about that little corner that he glanced at after he made the catch.
Well, yeah, and you got people over there, security guards. Everybody has to pick up their chair and run away. But last night, let's flash back to the dominating performance. 8 innings, 2 hits, just 1 walk, 13 strikeouts. Also had 6 ground ball outs, 108 pitches. And what was so neat about this, not only what he did, but even after he came off the field in the 7th inning, He said, I'm fine. And then here in the 8th inning, Buddy's just like, yeah, let's go.
That was the hardest back slap, derriere slap of the year from Buddy. We said it last night, and now we watch it 24 hours later, no question. That was the hardest right there. This is slowly hit. And that is all for Brett Kennedy. 2 outs. That'll bring up Travis Jankowski, and it will take us to our intrepid reporter, Ryan Spilborg. Spilly?
Well, Huey, you're talking about the scouts saying how impressive Herman was last night. I talked to several of the Padres player, A.J. Ellis being one of them. He said, hands down, last night was the most dominant single performance they've seen as a group of a pitcher the entire 2018. And that's a group that's seen the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks and the interleague play. But for them to single out Herman last night as being the best that they've seen to date, that's another feather in the cap.
Absolutely. You know who else was bragging on Herman after watching him last night? He was looking forward to seeing him. It was our old friend Mark Sweeney, the former Rocky, who works on the television side for the Padres. That's down low at changeup. 1 ball, 1 strike on Jankowski. Got to get Swing Dogs on our broadcast tonight.
There
One
he
of our
is.
all-time favorites. Tell you what, that man was a great pinch hitter, great role player, great leader. Had a long career with a number of teams. One of my favorite Rockies of all time. What a good man.
Great man. Not just good. He's
Yep. I mean,
good guy.
he and I have a similar haircut.
Yeah, you do.
He wears it better than I do, but you know.
It was pretty neat today too, because he got to see Matt Holliday, and but they embraced and be able to see some of your former teammates.
That's how Matty knows he's been around for a while. A lot of his teammates are talking for a living now. This is a base hit to right. 2-out single by Jankowski.
That's 14 straight games for Jankowski when he starts, and he's had a hit.
Yep. One other note on Marquez: 7 straight quality starts for Herman, which is the longest for a Rockies pitcher since 2013. Think about that.
Chacin.
Jolis. He's having a good year for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Brewers, who the Rockies are chasing in the wild card. They're closer in the division, game and a half back in the division. That's what the boys want.
That's outside on Urias.
Chacin 13-5 with the 361 for Milwaukee. How about that? 13-5. Where's that? Well, there's been a couple pitches that have not been called a strike tonight by Jim Reynolds in the Subaru strike zone, especially that one up.
And that's all over the the top portion of the strike zone.
Well, and for a manager or pitching coach, we've said it before, they can tell north-south. It's harder for them to tell east-west, but their angle, they know when a pitch is at least in there from the knees to the, the belt area.
And now it's 3-0. Brewers, by the way, made a move today. There were a couple of moves around baseball today. You talked about last night McCutchen going to the Yankees. Well, Gio Gonzalez went from Washington to the Mariners, and to Milwaukee. We were talking about Milwaukee. So they pick up the veteran left-handed starter. And that's ball 4. So now with 2 outs, you have 2 men on for Will Myers all of a sudden. Here's the other notable deal. Ryan Madson went from Washington to the Dodgers. They're having all kinds of pen issues.
Washington just waved the white flag and said, we're done. We're out.
Yeah, that kind of started that about a week or so ago. Josh Donaldson was also sent to Cleveland by Toronto.
Josh Donaldson's still on the 60-day DL, if I'm not mistaken.
He is. Got a bear down here. Will Myers, ground ball to short, his first time up. 6 for 10, though, lifetime against Senzatella. Scoreless game, bottom of 3. Good thing there's a fence in front of the Rockies dugout.
Parsley, hey, enough of that.
Desi's saying hit it that direction.
Oh, they started
to one of our fielders.
Yeah, and they started Will Myers off with the changeup. That's why he hooked it that much towards the dugout.
And that slider's fouled off. Here's the 0-2. And he got him with straight heat at 95. How do you like that? That a baby Senzatella. So Senza walks off after giving up a late hit and a walk in the inning. 2 men left aboard. We'll go to the 4th. Still scoreless in San Diego. These guys definitely did not have decaf. We are going to the top of the 4th inning. It'll be Nolan Arenado, Trevor Story, David Dahl. The Rockies also made a move today. They picked up the veteran catcher Drew Butera, who's the backup to Sally Perez in Kansas City. He's always been a very good receiver. Jerry Basto, the left-handed pitcher, had a solid year down in Albuquerque. Went to Kansas City. The Rockies got Butera in some financial considerations. And this is cued to first, and an easy play there for Eric Hosmer. He's had 3 or 4 of those tonight now, 4 of them to be exact, and Nolan gone on 1 pitch. So Drew Butera will be with the club tomorrow, and it just gives another option in the final month of the season for the Rockies behind the plate to handle this very talented pitching staff. He's always, as I said, been known for what he can do defensively. He's never been looked upon as a great offensive player.
Career .201 batting average, but for Butera, he's been in the postseason before, so he has that experience. And his dad Was also a big league catcher.
Sal.
Sal. Yep. It's caught Wade Davis before, so yeah, there's some history there. The Butera catching family, not quite to the Molina stature.
Right, not quite there. Story had a base hit off of Kennedy his first time up. Rockies are allowing Kennedy to gather confidence. Here he is with one out in the fourth inning and an 0-2 count on Story.
They did it last night with Eric Lauer too. Guy that they had hit before, Lauer, they let him hang around. They let the Padres hang around.
There's a base hit to center. Another hit for Trevor.
And at some point, you can't continue to do that. It's an old line of football, you know. You don't put somebody away, it's going to come back to hurt you.
So Dahl will come up. He struck out swinging, the only strikeout so far for Kennedy. Rockies, after the loss yesterday, 9-7 this year against the Padres. This is the final series between the two clubs. Outside on David.
We're 4-3 here at Petco.
It's also game 2 of 23 straight inside the NL West, which probably ultimately determined the fate of the 3 clubs that are most notably involved in the race for a division championship in the postseason. The Rockies, the Diamondbacks, the Dodgers, of course. Now everybody's wondering what tune David's humming.
Because after this, you go home and you play San Francisco, LA, Arizona, and then right back out on the road. Same thing, San Francisco, LA, Arizona.
This is pulled to Hosmer, and his throw will still get the force. Two gone. That'll bring up McMahon. A lot of ground balls so far against Brett Kennedy. Said that earlier, but it's holding up.
6 or 7 right now. Just kind of doing a quick look at my book.
McMahon grounded to Hosmer. He said he's been very busy. Interesting thing about his fastball, it's got run on it, but it's more of a four-seam fastball, according to
so meaning
his chart so far, where so you would assume that wouldn't produce heavy ground balls necessarily.
No, so it doesn't have the sink on it. So it runs, it kind of stays on the same plane. But that is now 7 ground ball outs for Kennedy. 3 2/3 innings.
Padres being shrewd, keeping a close eye on Dahl. 2 outs, scoreless game. Rockies, let's see if they can get a bag with Dahl. Well, this is in the air to left, and Renfroe will make the catch, and the Rockies are gone in the 4th. Still scoreless in San Diego. Back right after this. inning. That's what we're going to do right now. Buddy Black joins us. Buddy, the obvious question, team's going funks offensively, and I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what are you seeing from your club right now swinging the bats?
Well, I know, somebody's going to pay at some point, some pitcher. Hopefully it's this fella as the game goes on. But he seems to be changing speeds pretty good. Even though the fastball's not overly hot, the changeup's coming into play, a little bit of the slider, and we just can't seem to get a lot of good swings against him.
Speaking of somebody else, Antonio Senzatella after his last start, a little bit better tonight, mixing in some off-speed pitches.
Yeah, a little bit better for sure. I think the change has come into play a little bit more in those last couple starts. We've seen a couple good early count curveballs, and I like the 95-mile-an-hour fastball past Myers there last inning. He can dial that up a little bit, but Senza seems to be in a good rhythm. Behind a couple guys, but overall pretty good.
Buddy, have Parra get those guys going in the dugout.
Thanks. Okay. All right, guys.
Thanks,
all right,
buddy.
Thanks, buddy. So Eric Hosmer leading things off in a scoreless game, bottom of the fourth. It'll be Hosmer, Renfro, and Reyes, 4 through 6 in the lineup. And here's the 0-1 from Senza. That's just inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hosmer had a double off the center field wall, leading off the second inning on a 3-0 pitch, and then he was thrown out by Ryan McMahon on a hard ground ball to Ryan off the bat of Renfro. And Ryan fired it across to Nolan, who got Hosmer pretty easily. Play
that was
you
a big
almost
play in
never
that game,
see.
or in that inning.
Three and 2. That's fouled off his foot.
Well, we showed it a moment ago of the Brewers acquiring Gio Gonzalez. Well, they just made another trade. They got Curtis Granderson, also from Toronto.
Well, it's a good veteran clubhouse presence who can hit you a home run. Swung on and missed. Senzatella with some giddy up there. That's his second consecutive strikeout, third on the evening, 1 gone, and that'll bring up Renfro.
And all of them have come on the fastball. 2 at 94, 1 at 95. A little elevated piece right above the hands of Hosmer.
That kept its plane, didn't it?
Yeah, it stayed. It had, talking about spin rate, probably pretty high spin rate.
This is a high fly ball to left field. David Dahl.
That's a major league pop-up.
2 gone. And Franmil Reyes will approach. That walk-off home run that Reyes hit last night was the first walk-off home run for the Padres since last year.
Jan Hervé Salarta. That ball was hit at 110 miles an hour off the bat. 405 feet.
Strike 1 on the outside corner at the knees. Second career start at Petco for Senza.
About 14, 15 months ago. Early May in 2017 with his only other start.
Fifth inning in Los Angeles. Arizona leading the Dodgers 2-1. Arizona beat them 3-1 last night. Who's that? Just missed, I guess, off the corner. 2-2.
It's about the fourth time that Jim Reynolds has had to look over to the dugout and give an explanation to Bud.
You heard what he said. He goes, no, that was outside, buddy. That ball's well hit left center field, and Reyes has done it again. 13th home run for Franmil Reyes, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead.
He's hitting 9 out of his last 10 games. Well, Antonio missed his spot, missed his location. And Reyes didn't miss the pitch then. You know, sometimes you get away with missing it. But Reyes is so strong. 13 home runs. Just 17 RBIs of those 13 home runs. Subaru Supermo. Chris wanted it away. I mean, that goes back to the inner third.
I want to repeat what you just said, because you almost never see these two categories so close. 13 home runs, 17 RBIs.
Yeah, I mean, that's really hard to do.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a guy with that many home runs and that few RBIs.
That's where he wanted the pitch to Franmil. Out and away.
Well, as it's been said many times, solo home runs shouldn't beat you.
No, they
1-0
shouldn't.
Padres, 2 outs, 1-1 count on Hedges. 1-2 count on Hedges.
Just the 6th home run Antonio's giving up this year. 5 of them to right-handers.
Just his 4th home run he's allowed in his last 56 innings. 2-2. This is in the air to right field. Cargo, DJ, it'll be Cargo. And that is all for the Padres. They get the home run from Reyes. As we go to the 5th, it's 1-0 San Diego. TNT Sportsnet is brought to you by the 2018 Toyota Tundra in your hometown Toyota stores. By the new film, Operation Finale. Discover the true story of the hunt for Hitler's deadliest lieutenant in theaters now. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. With my partner, Jeff Houston, my other partner, Ryan Spilborg. We haven't heard from him in like an hour. I don't know what he's doing, but he's somewhere in the ballpark, we've been told.
I think he's trying to rally the troops down
I hope
there.
he is. I hope he's doing something productive. It'll be Iannetta, Senzatella, Blackman in the 5th inning.
My audio just cut out.
Didn't cut out completely because we just heard you.
We just
There
heard
we go. I'm back.
Yeah, you're back, sort of. Yeah. How
Gotta
are
get it
you?
going down there.
I was trying to get the guys going. I was throwing sunflower seeds at him yesterday. Parra was yelling at me for like an entire hit, so I'm yelling at these guys while they're hitting. My audio cut out.
The last 22 innings, the Rockies have 5 runs on 11 hits. Their last 7 hits over 3 games are all singles. And there's a base hit to lead off
See,
the inning.
it works.
There it goes. Now
Let's go!
That's the second time tonight, excuse me, the third time tonight, fellas, that the Rockies have had the leadoff man on.
Yeah,
Senzatella will be bunting here.
Yeah, the first, second, and now here in the 5th. Antonio owns 4 sacrifice bunts on the season.
Senza continues to do a really good job in that department. At least from memory, he's getting them down immediately. It's not like, you know, there's 2 strikes, there's, you know, a miss and a foul ball. He's getting it down right away.
Well, and he needed to on this one because of how hard Eric Hosmer was charging. This is a timing play. He's charging hard, so there's not much margin for error. And you have Chris running to it from first to second, and he put some backspin on that ball. So Hosmer couldn't go to second base. Because he did the right thing. I mean, you're taught to bunt towards first with the runner on first, but Hosmer was charging hard.
Here's Charlie, and that's a ball. Charlie, an infield hit and a pop out. He's been grinding for about a month now. Getting his hits, just hasn't gotten hot. Charlie Blackman hot. This ball is right at the left fielder Renfroe. 2 outs.
Well, fans, you can manage your dream team in franchise mode. Plus, get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone.
So with 2 outs, DJ LeMahieu will try to come through, as he frequently does. Ground ball to second. He hit sharply and then was grazed by a pitch.
Laying off that first sinking fastball, but some of the numbers for the Rockies are 0 for 5 tonight with runners in scoring position. What they were doing before the break, impressive, but since then they need to find a way to get that going again, get that mojo that they had in the first half.
That hit the bat according to Jim Reynolds, so it's 1-1.
DJ didn't quite agree with that. He called it a foul tip.
Off the plate. DJ with a ground ball to second. Urias has it, and he flips over to Hosmer, and the Rockies are done in the 5th inning. Lionetta leadoff single. He's left at second. 1-0 Padres.
CenturyLink high-speed challenge. This is great. We're in San Diego. Which San Diego-based movie did you like better? A, Top Gun, or B, Anchorman? You can vote on our Twitter account at AT&T Sportsnet Rocky Mountain. You'll get the results on the post-game show. I think this is pretty simple. Every time I come here, Drew, I start humming this song like David Dahl does. Dun dun da 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 bam bam.
Where did we go after the game last night?
You know where we went, the KC Barbecue.
KC Barbecue.
Great balls of fire, man.
That's right. Top Gun. I'm with you. Top Gun.
I'm going to go look for a pet that has some runs in it right now.
You got to change the mojo.
Yeah, I'm going to go find a rally pet.
2 strikes on Freddie Galvis. Senza and the Rockies down 1-0. A home run by Franmil Reyes. This ball is well hit to center, but Charlie is right there. I'll bring up Brett Kennedy. Not allowed to run through 5 innings in his 5th major league start. The last 3 starting pitchers for the Padres coming into tonight had fashioned an .090 ERA. Well, that's obviously gone down so far tonight. Here's the former Fordham Ram. DJ's got it. 2 outs.
There have been 40 players from Fordham to play in the big leagues. 2 Hall of Famers.
If I remember right, you know who went to Fordham? Not a baseball player, but you know who went to Fordham? Who's that? Vince Lombardi. Oh, pretty sure he did. Who are the 2 Hall of Famers?
Frankie Frisch.
Frankie Frisch.
The Fordham Flash.
The Fordham, of course. Caught some of his games growing up. He could really run.
He was fast.
Jankowski at the plate. 1 for 2.
The other one was Ed Walsh, who was a pitcher.
Okay.
Did I say 40? It was 60. Check my eyesight.
2-0 on Jankowski. And the 3-0's in there. 3-1. Jankowski went to college in New York also at Stony Brook. That's at the knees. 3-2. Wondered Stony Brook and Fordham in the same conference.
Look that one. I'll have to Google that one. I don't know off the top of my head.
This is tough. Diving. Nolan can't make the play. It'll be a base hit with 2 outs for Jankowski.
That courtesy of our truck.
This is my Ron Burgundy.
That's your Ron Burgundy.
Just missing that
I've
mustache.
warned people, I said a lot of these reads that I have to do, these advertisement reads, if you were to put commas or question marks, I would read it totally like Ron Burgundy.
We'll put the question mark in the teleprompter.
Got another Fordham Ram.
Who's that?
The great Vin Scully. On one hop, broken bat, and that's all for the Padres in the 5th. Rockies, as we go to the 6th, we'll have Carlos Gonzalez in the middle of the order coming up, trying to get things right with the offense. Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Friday night, Petco Park in downtown San Diego. Rockies have been held scoreless so far by the 24-year-old rookie Brett Kennedy. Carlos Gonzalez, a ground out and a fly out, will lead things off. The Rockies have had a base runner in every inning. Outside ball 1.
It's still just 4 hits.
Ball and a strike on Carlos. Arenado and Story to follow. Been a tight zone, fortunately, in that particular case for Cargo, but it's been a tight zone all night for Jim Reynolds.
It hadn't changed, but that third pitch clearly in the Subaru strike zone. Call the ball, though.
And that's clearly up 3-1. Rockies 4 singles tonight, 3 singles last night. Their last extra base hit was a Blackman double in the 6th inning Tuesday in Anaheim. Well, there's the leadoff man on for the 4th time in 6 innings. You got to take advantage.
You have to. You have to take advantage for a guy making his 5th major league start. He came into the game 0-2 with the 7.58 ERA.
And the guys that have reached leading off, Blackman, who can run, Story, who can run. Ionette obviously reached last inning. He's not a base stealer, but Cargo, still very solid speed. Wow, Nolan lays down a bunt, and that's where you know things are not right.
No.
He was bunting for a hit, and he couldn't get it past Kennedy. I don't know if I ever recall Nolan trying to bunt for a hit. And third basemen are always, it's not, hey, the third baseman's deep. They're always going to be deep. He's a guy that pulls the ball a great deal of the time.
Yeah, he's just trying to do something to shake it up. It just wasn't directionally where he needed it, but for the Rockies, it'll go down as a sacrifice for Nolan. 1-3.
You know, he's taking a team at bat in his mind. I understand it, but it does speak to how frustrated he's been offensively. And so here's Story trying to tie it up. And that is caught by Galvis. 2 outs. Story's hit the ball hard 3 times.
Well, that had some hook on it too. Freddie Galvis playing in his 300th consecutive game. Great, some good base running though by Cargo not to be doubled up on this ball. Subaru Supermo. That's a catch, and then it was on the transfer. That ball pops out.
Gall's 0 for 2. Outside on David, ball 1. David got into the ball game in the 11th inning last night and was intentionally walked. His last start was Monday in Anaheim. And he went 1 for 4, a double and a walk that night.
Get off the 0 for train with runners in scoring position tonight. 0 for 7.
The Rockies pretty solid in the first half. We talked about this, runners in scoring position in August, coming into tonight 218, 29th in baseball. 0 for 8 last night, 0 for 7 tonight.
Just 3 for 33 on this road trip.
And a walk. So McMahon now will come up with 2 aboard. It's the second walk in the inning.
4 hits, 2 walks, and a hit by pitch.
McMahon had one of the better at bats for the Rockies last night. Darren Balsley's going to go out and visit with Kennedy. He had a pinch single. Again, one of the 3 hits.
That was a solid line
Not hard
drive.
to find. Yeah, it's not hard to find the high quality at bats these last night and even tonight. For the record, Nolan does have 2 career bunt hits. I don't remember any of them.
Maton just starting to get loose after the pitching coach came out to have the chat with Kennedy. Scott Oberg up in the Rockies bullpen.
Ryan McMahon, whose confidence is growing, more opportunities that he's gotten after coming back from Albuquerque, worked on some things. We've documented that. A little more aggressive, pulling the baseball better, getting ready a little bit sooner.
Almost 300 since his recall.
Ryan was one of those guys that just naturally, growing up, drove the ball with great authority the other way. Heard that before. Todd Helton said it many times. He learned to pull the baseball, really pull the baseball in pro ball. Great a career as he had at Tennessee. 1-2. Mac trying to get that elusive big hit. Working him up in the zone.
That's kind of Brett Kennedy's pitch pattern. He likes to pitch up in the zone. Let's see if he goes off-speed pitch here, because sometimes when a pitcher comes set and then steps off the rubber, it's because he didn't have his off-speed grip.
Strikeout of McMahon, down and in. The Rockies leave 2 on in the 6th inning. They're 0 for 16 in the series with runners in scoring position.
Number 28 come for the game against the Nationals and stay for an electrifying fireworks show courtesy of T-Mobile. Well, not much fireworks here tonight for the Rockies, at least offensively. Antonio Senzatela, just the 1 home run that he's allowed. 4 hits for the Padres. He's doing his part. We'll get 3, 4, and 5 for the Padres in Myers, Hosmer, and Renfroe.
Senzatela breaking ball for a strike. He's got Myers twice, ground ball to short, and he struck him out. Struck him out with 2 men on in the 3rd for the final out. Depending on what Iannetta does leading off next inning, certainly how this inning goes for Senzatela, it could be his last inning, because with the Rockies trailing, he's due up 2nd.
Well, and that's why Scott was up last inning, getting loose. You know, if you did put a rally together where he needed to tack on another one, Then he would have pinch hit for Antonio.
You know, if Iannetta were to reach, conceivable if he has a quick, strong inning here that Buddy may elect to, have him bunt again and keep him in the game. 77 pitches, good number. Slider, and it's see you later to Myers. That's another strikeout. Senza has pitched a really good ball game. The one pitch I guess he'd like to have back, kind of a center cut fastball that was drilled out of the ballpark by Fernando Reyes. 4 strikeouts tonight.
Yeah, first off-speed strikeout tonight for Antonio. 2 of the strikeouts against Will Myers with fastball, and then that last one. That one might have been more of a curveball.
Spinning it much better tonight than in his last start when he gave up the career most 10 hits. Hosmer has a double off the center field wall on a strikeout. That breaking ball misses. 1-0. And this is on 3 hops to DJ, 2 outs. Two outs, that'll bring up the left fielder, Hunter Renfroe.
Well, the left-hander, Matt Strom's still getting loose for the Padres out in their bullpen. Dotting the outside of the Subaru strike zone with that pitch.
Here's the 0-1 to Renfroe off the plate. Renfroe, product of Mississippi State. He's from the state of Mississippi, Crystal Springs. Set a high school record his senior year, as you see Strom's throwing, with 20 home runs.
20.
Hit 20 his senior year in high school. It's pretty good. Hit 16 home runs his junior year at Mississippi State. Hit 345. The Bulldogs went to the College World Series Finals in Omaha that year. Here's the 1-2.
He just looks like he could do that.
He looks like he should hit the ball really far, yes. And that's a sharply hit ball to Nolan. He gobbles it up, fires it across. Great inning again for Senzatella. Strikeout, 2 groundouts. So we'll go to the 7th inning. 1-0 San Diego.
Rockies down 1-0 as we head to the top of the 7th inning. It's rally time. We're at Petco Park. I'm looking for a rally dog. I found 2 Rockies fans, Tiffany and Veronica. And check out this. It's a lot. What kind of dog is this?
Lhasa Apso. He is a Lhasa Apso.
He has a giant underbite. His name is Gizmo because he is he's a gremlin. So he does his trick. He'll bark on command, right?
If he sits down, yes.
All right, I'm going to get him to sit down because we need a rally. We need some runs. We're going to sit him on the ground. We're going to rev his engine, and he's going to growl, and we're going to get a run this inning if we don't toss him into a volcano on accident.
Rev your engine.
Gizmo,
Rev your...
rev your engine.
I promise at some point we'll get him to bark.
Okay.
Gizmo. Gizmo. Rev your engine. Gizmo. Speak. Speak.
Speak.
Let's lay
Speak.
down. Speak.
Gizmo, speak. Speak.
Gizmo, speak.
Ruff! Did you hear that?
Good one.
All right, guys.
That
gonna
went-
work.
We're
Hey,
going to hang
Spilly,
out with Gizmo. I'm going to feed him some food, and I'm pretty sure if this dog doesn't get a run, I'm going to look for another one.
Yeah, that went pretty well.
Yeah, I think it went great.
Yeah.
He's a non-union worker. It's all right.
New pitcher's Matt Strom. Rocky saw Matt Strom for an inning last night. Brett Kennedy goes 6 shutout innings, so the Rockies had not scored a run against either of the 2 young starters for the Padres. Kennedy tonight, Eric Lauer last night. Actually, they got a run off of Lauer. It was an unearned run. 1-2. And Ionetta's gone. Ian Desmond's going to pinch hit for Sensatella here in the 7th.
It's just unfortunate that Antonio can't stay in the game because he was getting stronger last couple innings. Just the 9th time this year that Ian has come off the bench, 1 for 8 previous pinch hitting.
Foul back by Desmond. Rockies have 4 singles tonight. Sensatella, terrific performance. Gave up the home run to Franmil Reyes. Only 3 other hits against him.
So 1-0 now up in the Rockies bullpen.
Two-strike count. Two of the 4 Rockies hits haven't left the infield. The only line drive hit was Stories. Stories hit the ball hard 3 times. He has 2 of the Rockies' 4 hits. 2-2, back even for Desi.
Desi, like a few of the other guys, in a little bit of a downturn. 0 for his last 12, just 2 for his last 21.
And he goes down. Here comes the top of the order. Charlie tonight has an infield hit, a pop out, and a fly ball to left field. That infield hit for Charlie to lead off the ball game is the only hit for the Rockies' first 4 hitters in the lineup in this series. They're combined 1 for 30.
Ooh, last night they were 0 for 21.
Tonight, that infield hit is it in 9 at bats, and there's a solid base hit. So DJ will come up. DJ has reached once tonight. He was hit by a pitch. Cargo, who's hitting behind him, has reached on a walk. So Antonio Senzatella, 6 strong innings, a run on 4 hits, 10 ground ball outs. Struck out 4, walked 1. Got a good curveball, doesn't he?
He does. And last night, strikeout in 1 inning of work.
Well, now you're competing against the best part of the Padres. You know, their offense has not been good this year. They have a very young pitching staff in terms of starting pitchers, but their bullpen, as we described last night, that has been a strength. Top 7 in baseball.
The only difference, so at least for the next 3 games, is no Kirby Yates.
He is on paternity. Actually, excuse me, not paternity. He's on the bereavement list. Correct that.
So how does that shuffle around the bullpen for the Padres?
Of course, the Padres, like the Rockies, used a lot of pitchers last night. And the one guy's definitely not available is Robert Stock. He went 3 innings.
He used 6 last night, 6 relievers.
And this is an easy play for the second baseman, Urias. And nothing doing again in the 7th for the Rockies.
Come here, Teddy.
Yep,
Come here, Teddy.
Find another dog. 1-0
this
San
one.
Diego.
Look at this one.
I like that one.
You got hits in you?
And taking over for the Rockies is Sungwon Oh. Here in the bottom of the 7th inning, he'll face Franmil Reyes, Austin Hedges, and Freddie Galvis.
Oh, an inning last night, a couple strikeouts. That was in the 9th inning. Excuse me, the 10th inning last night.
Here's the 1-0. And that's right there for a strike. The win for the Padres last night. They're 26th at home, 26-43. That's the worst home mark in the National League. It seems like doom and gloom because we've watched 7 innings of poor offensive baseball from the Rockies. 13 innings last night, so it's 20 innings, but you still have a situation where you're down 1-0.
That's what you have to keep focusing on. It's hard when you're in that hurricane.
High fly ball to left. Dahl hoping for room, and he'll have it.
That's the second time that he's made a play over right by the corner where there's some security guards.
Hugh, it's time for our Lowe's whole team together. Well, the Rockies bullpen, we should make note of this because they have received their share of criticism this year, and right now they're one of the hottest bullpens, believe it or not, in all of baseball. 2.81 ERA over their last 18 ball games, which is 3rd best in baseball, and O's been a big part of that. Wade Davis has been a big part of that. Scott Oberg is in a good place. Jake McGee as well. And this ball's well hit left center field. Dahl going back, and he can't make the catch, and it remains in play. It'll be a double for Hedges. David for a second thought it bounced over the fence. So a 1-out double for Hedges.
Hedges struck out last night against O. He didn't wait around. The slider that backed up. 10th double of the year for Hedges. Right over the outstretched arms of David. Quite sure what happened. And I think he heard Charlie yell, "Get it," because that ball's still in play.
Freddie Galvis, a foul out and a line drive to center. Corey Spangenberg has come out on deck. That's a base hit. Now Hedges waited. Cargo up with the baseball. Throw toward the plate is not going to be in time to get Galvis at second. They got him. Galvis an RBI single. It's 2-0 San Diego. And then he was cut down trying to advance. That ball was in the right spot to score Hedges, who does not run well, and he hesitated because he wanted to make sure it cleared DJ LeMahieu, but because it was in right center field, it made it a very difficult throw for Cargo. He had to redirect himself.
Yeah, and his momentum's going away from home, but good job by Chris to then get rid of that ball to get it to Trevor to keep Freddie Galvis from going into scoring position again. Pretty close at the plate, but just like that, it's now 2-0.
As we mentioned, Corey Spangenberg now will pinch hit. There's a curveball for a strike. And another one. Strike 3 at the top of the zone. That had been called much tonight, but it's called there, and Spangenberg is gone. But a double and a single, and the Padres have added a run. They're up 2-0. Cargo will lead it off in the 8th. Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. By UC Health, live extraordinary. And by Jack in the Box. Try something different like Jack's Teriyaki Bowls, only at Jack in the Box for a limited time. Well, a couple of changes to tell you about defensively. With a 2-0 lead, Manuel Margot goes into center field. Travis Jankowski will slide to right, and Reyes will come off the field. And the Padres in the 8th inning will have a new arm out there, and this is one of the few guys that didn't throw yesterday.
He was
Bill
up.
Maton.
Yeah, he was up late yesterday. Didn't need to be used. 39th game on the year. 48 strikeouts and 40 2/3. It's primarily a four-seam fastball and a slider. He's given up at least one run in each of his last 4 ball games.
Well, Cargo pops this one up, shallow center field. Second baseman Urias goes out. 1 out. Yeah, I don't know what to say. You just run out of ways to describe what the Rockies are going through offensively. And I don't even know if it's reminiscent to April and May when the first 6 weeks of the season the Rockies were inconsistent offensively. I mean, they're getting nothing going. I mean, even back then they'd scratch out a run or two, hit a home run. But I mean, these at bats have gone very quickly, and it's not like you say, well, they're hitting a bunch of atom balls. There haven't been many hard hit balls the last 2 nights.
And they've had a base runner on every inning going into the 8th inning.
Yeah, there has not been a 1-2-3 inning. And Nolan is in a really rough spot. He'll find his way out of it. He always does. He's one of the best players in the sport. It just goes to show you that even guys like Nolan have funks. He's gone on 3 pitches, 2 outs.
The Rockies are on a game and a half back, so fans, you can place a deposit on a 2019 ticket plan and guaranteeing an opportunity at 2018 postseason tickets. For more information, go to Rockies.com/season tickets or call 303 Rockies.
Nolan's 0 for his last 18 at the plate. Story's hit the ball hard legitimately 3 times. He had a single. There was a bullet off the leg of Brett Kennedy. He had a line single to center, and he lined out to Galvis with a runner at second. Looks like Jake McGee will be next on the mound for the Rockies. 2 outs in the 8th. Rockies down 2-0. And this will be a 1-2-3 inning for Maton. Middle of 8, Padres up 2-0. Pitching performance. Well, Antonio Sensatella held up his end of the bargain. 6 innings, he allowed 1 run. That was a home run to Franmil Reyes. He struck out 4, walked 1. Unfortunately, the Rockies' offense has been the story the last couple of days. Their inability to put anything together. But Sensa, terrific tonight, as was Herman Marquez last night.
Yeah, also 10 ground ball outs for Antonio tonight. That's where you kind of hate to waste the 2 pitching performances you had from your starter. Now you just got to work some magic in the 9th, but to get there will be Jake McGee coming on for his 54th game this year. Jake, a clean inning last night, 1 inning, did give up a hit, but only 13 pitches, so 9 of them for strikes last night.
Top of the order, and Travis Jankowski. He's had a couple hits tonight. And that is pulled foul. One and one on Jankowski. Craig Stammen, who normally works the 8th inning, again, as Huey mentioned, without Kirby Yates available, slogs up to the 9th inning. The Rockies are due against him because he's had Colorado's number.
Zero saves on the year for Stammen.
3-1.
Close on that, ball 4 now to Jankowski.
Speed aboard, leading off here in the 8th. Urias walked in the 3rd. That's the only time he's been on. Otherwise, a couple of ground outs for the 21-year-old. We were talking about the youngest players in baseball. The youngest is Soto with Washington, who's 19. He won't be 20 until October.
He's played for Mexico last year in the WBC. Tells you even at age 20 how he could play with anybody. Hit 306 in 467 minor league games.
Good fastball for a strike. 6 straight scoreless appearances for Jake McGee. And that's another strike. They had Urias bunt last night in a place where you almost have to bunt. First and second, nobody out, and he popped it up. I thought he may be bunting here. Doubtful it's going to happen with a 2-strike count. Looking to build that third run if you're Andy Green.
And even last night or in the post-game press conference for Andy Green, he said, you know, that's what a second place hitter has to be able to do, lay down a bunt. And Scott Oberg wiggled out of that inning. That was in the 11th.
This ball's pretty well hit to right field, and this is gone. And that's the first career home run for Urias, and now it's 4-0 San Diego.
First career home run, first career RBIs. He had his first career stolen base last night. Don't let the size fool you, him. With the leg kick, he can generate some pop.
Just did on an 0-2 pitch.
Caught the right field corner there where it comes out. And now it's 4-0.
Myers fouls it off. He's 0 for 3, couple strikeouts tonight. Well, the good news for that young man, in addition, is he's probably going to get the baseball because a Padre fan caught it.
Belt high on the Subaru Supermo. Urias said there's 17 minor league home runs in those 467 games. There's 17 home runs. There'll be some exchange, some bartering going on with that home run ball.
This ball's well hit to right. And this one's gone. 5-0.
Gives San Diego 37 home runs. Check that 38 home runs in the month of August.
This is not a good time to hit a funk, and the Rockies are definitely in one this week. They did get a ball game in Anaheim. They had an opportunity to win on Monday night, the 7-5 lead after the grand slam from DJ.
And 2 opposite field home runs at this park at night. 10th home run for Will Myers.
Hosmer takes a home run cut. But now this game has slipped into the abyss.
Getting loose. And the Rockies pin.
That's outside. Dodgers have come back to take a 3-2 lead on Arizona. If your buddy, you wish you could push a magic button and get the offense going, but you know, baseball, like all sports, doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you wish you could do it. Like I said, you just kind of let the Padres hang around.
This ball is well struck left center field, and this is off the base of the wall. Hosmer's going to have his second double of the night. That is 3 balls in a row that have really been well struck against McGee. And he walked Jankowski to begin the inning, left on left, and that will be all for McGee. But Brian Shaw will come on. Nobody out here in the 8th inning. 3 runs in, 5-0 San Diego.
Book at the game on Saturday, September 8th, and receive 2 complimentary Rockies tickets to a select game in September, courtesy of UPS. Brian Shaw, who took the loss last night, giving up the home run.
Got 2 quick outs last night and then hung a slider up in the zone, way up in the zone to Franmil Reyes, who launched it over the center field wall. Nobody out, 3 runs in. Hosmer at second, Hunter Renfroe at the plate, and that's in there for a strike on the inside corner. And that is line to left, and it's fair into the corner. Here comes Hosmer. And in the second is Renfroe with a double. It is 6-0 San Diego.
That extends the hit streak for Hunter to 8 games. It's a 54 RBIs on the year. All 4 of the runs in this inning will be charged so far to Jake McGee.
Yep, he faced 4 batters, all 4 scored.
Second pitch, Renfroe rips it down the left field line.
Here's Reyes, excuse me, that's Margot. Reyes out of the ball game. First at bat for Margot, came in defensively last inning. to deep right. Cargo sets his feet, and tagging moving up is Renfro. Still got to see the splendid arm of Carlos Gonzalez.
Seen it on play a couple times tonight. That throw to home. They almost got Hedges.
One thing that's been so difficult, I'm sure, for Brian to figure out, for those that have seen him pitch before and pitch with great success, is against right-handed hitters in particular, how often the ball has gotten barreled this year.
Well, because the slider, the cutter, whatever it is not, there's nothing going down to the hitter. So it's kind of staying there flat, right along the lines of the barrel.
Hedges doubled to lead off, or excuse me, with 1 out in the 7th inning, and would score the 2nd run. That is blistered to center field. And Renfro scores, and this is now gotten lopsided, 7-0.
Fifth hit this inning by the Padres.
Here's Galvis. It's fouled off down the left field line, out of play. Well, you knew half the state back home was going to be happy tomorrow, and half the state would probably be unhappy. And all the Buffalo grads, looks like they're going to be ecstatic, because CU in the Rocky Mountain Showdown with about 11 minutes to go leads 45-10 over Colorado State.
So she's going to start out 0-2, and
they have some
easier
issues on defense, and it's not going to get easier. I know they got Arkansas coming up. They go to Florida. But a good start for the Golden Buffaloes in their first game of 2018. Oh, and 2 on Galvis. Galvis, the 8th man to hit in the inning. The first 5 have all scored.
And those 5 runs that the Padres have scored in the 8th inning, that's the most they've done this year.
All of a sudden they have 11 hits. And again, Sensatella was great. 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits.
Well, he lowered his ERA down to 4.88. Started at 5.24 on the prior to the game. After the 4 runs that Jake gave up, his ERA now stands at 6.46. Jake McGee.
Galvis is gone, 2 outs. Now bring up Jose Perella. He's going to pinch hit. Rowan Wick, who just got called up today. That's sharply hit by Perella, but he's going to be out. He's going to pitch the 9th inning. He came up when, again, Kirby Yates was placed on the bereavement list. So Stammen now with the big lead can sit down, and that's a big break for the Padres. They don't have to use him consecutive days. Jenny, thank you. David Dahl to face the guy making his major league debut, Rowan Wick, and he's going to get the first guy out as David hits it sharply, but right at Luis Urias. A reminder, if you want tacos, follow us at ATT Sportsnet RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more runs. One gone, Ryan McMahon will come up. Wick's an interesting story. So many players are in their route to the big leagues if they're fortunate enough to get to the big leagues. He's from North Vancouver, British Columbia. He pitched for Team Canada last year. He was originally in the Cardinals organization as an outfielder. And in 2015, he had a big arm, big, strong guy, as you can see, 6'3", about 240. They converted him to the mound. And in his minor league career, he's had a sub-3 ERA. He was a waiver claim originally by San Diego.
Well, and he's also throwing a lot of strikes because he's got 164 strikeouts and 142 innings down in the minor leagues. Just 72 walks and a batting average against the 200 in the minor leagues. So he kind of figured out how to transition to the pitcher mound pretty fast.
And he strikes out McMahon. Well, Corey said he feels like this will be, you know, kind of a wake-up call. And, you know, baseball's different from football. You know, harder, angrier, faster doesn't work as Chris Iannetta prepares to hit here. Is this the time? And I don't know if your philosophy on closed-door meetings, that sort of thing. I mean, it's not like a 10-game losing streak or that kind of deal, but you know, the last 2-3 days have been rough.
If you do it, I think it's more of, as Corey's going to do in the postgame show, more of a pep talk than a yelling match.
Well, nobody's trying to make outs.
No, exactly. That's why you're going to say, hey guys, remember, we're still a very good team. I know the last 2 days haven't gone well, but you got to know that, okay, the Dodgers have just beat Arizona. Okay, so they're going to slip a half game ahead of you. You're in third place now, but you're still only a game and a half back. I think that's what you have to keep your eye on the prize. But that being said, tomorrow's got to be a different outcome. You got to do things differently tomorrow. I mean, you can have the pep talks, you can have the closed door meetings, but eventually it comes down to taking care of business yourself and not worrying about what other people do, what other teams do.
Two-strike count on Iannetta. And this is slowly hit to short. Galvis has it. The Padres win it tonight in shutout fashion, 7-0. They broke open a close game with a 5-run bottom of the 8th, and the Rockies have lost the first 2 here at Petco Park, and they've lost their last 3. They fall to 72 and 62. The Padres are now 54 and 83. Brett Kennedy gets the victory, his first major league win, and Antonio Senzatella is the hard luck loser. He drops to 4 and 5 as we go to Denver. Here's Jenny and Corey once again.